Let's get it, baby. Hey, them Drop the Jewels boys back in the building.
Yes,
Come on, man. Super excited. Today make 1 year that me and you been friends.
Damn, that is today.
Most definitely.
Oh, that's today. Yeah.
Today make 1 year we've been friends. Today make the day we actually did the first podcast together. And the day that I left and I said, man, I see God working in mysterious ways. We got many more years to come, man. There was only 1 year in, and look what the things we did, and we made a lot of impact on a lot of different things, man. Super excited.
A lot of people's lives.
Most definitely. Most definitely. We keep getting DMs from different people, how much we made a big impact. But, hey, man, we super excited because we got the one and only Miss Krystal on Drop the Jewels, man. Listen, man, this very special to have this young lady, this superhero, this superwoman to be on the Drop the Jewels. How you feeling today?
I'm tired, but
Wow.
blessed.
Most definitely.
I
most
get to
definitely.
sit with y'all today. So
We appreciate you coming on.
We appreciate you coming.
thank y'all for having me.
For sure. So you from here?
Nope,
Where you from?
never. Just kidding. I'm originally from Lafayette, Louisiana.
Oh, okay.
Been here about 10 years.
Okay. You like it better here?
The money's good.
Right,
The people are different,
Right.
but it's my home now. So
Well, there's a lot of people here from Louisiana.
yes,
For sure.
yes. Like him.
Including him.
Most definitely including me.
Yeah.
So with the transition, like from moving from Louisiana to here to something new that you ain't used to trying to build, to trying to find your way to be who you is today.
Ooh, I guess originally for me, I came here for work. So I started in oil and gas accounting. So I came here for work. I was not trying to be none of what I am today at all. I was really focused on just working, taking care of my kiddos, and trying to transition after a major relationship shift. And God had other plans. That's the best way for me to say it. But the transition was hard. It was rough, and it was God ordained. So there was some things that I had to grow into and grow through and grow around. But nonetheless, all things work together for the good of those who love him and are called according to their purpose. So I'm here.
For sure. Yeah, a lot of people do move here for that industry. It's huge here in
Yeah.
Houston, the oil and gas industry.
Definitely. And then when I got here, the oil field started going through like a downturn. And with that transition, I got laid off twice.
Wow.
And started kind of tapping into entrepreneurship a little bit as a side hustle. And then it turned into a full-blown thing.
So I know you work with artists now. How's that been?
Yeah, so cool. It's exciting. It's different. I'm starting in accounting, so to transition to work with artists, influencers, and entertainers can be a bit of a challenge sometimes because I'm used to being an introvert. So, obviously that industry is a little bit more extroverted, but it's a God-ordained space, I would say. But it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, you definitely you got to be an extrovert for sure. But I mean, like, what do you have? What's the challenge for you? Like, what do you have to do as extrovert in your industry?
Just be out and about, like
be around a lot of people.
So like I'm
talking to people.
Yeah, so I've learned to be an extroverted introvert, where when I'm out and about, I'm there, but then when I'm not there, I'm kind of quiet into myself.
Yeah, I feel you. I'm kind of the same way. It's something you got to get used to.
That.
But I'm a rapper myself, so that's why I had to kind of learn to not be that way.
Yeah.
Because what's crazy is a lot of the greatest extroverts are really introverts. Yes. And a lot of the biggest artists are really introverts. You wouldn't know.
Yeah.
But when you get around them, you're like, wow, they created that. It's like they had to become that. It wasn't natural for them. I think that's what makes them so great is because they had to make themselves do it and kind of like get into that position where it becomes like they practice at it.
Yeah.
It's not natural, so that's why they become great at it. Because some of the greatest performers.
I think too, it's like people don't see it as their job. So like there's a job you where you're a rapper, but then there's a home you.
Right.
There's a friend you, there's a family you. So I think if we would see it from that perspective, more people would understand that you can be an introvert and an extroverted during your workspace.
So with the transition, like with you being that way when you out talking to a lot of people and then going home and deal with your kids?
Like most of my kids are grown, so that's a good thing. But I think early on it was kind of tough because I didn't really have the balance. there's in that industry, you guys know a lot of people are tugging at you. They want more from you. People asking questions. There's the people of dealing with the artists, but then there's the concept of dealing with the fans. And dealing with the people who want to deal with the artist. So at first it was very challenging for me because I like to be quiet and out the way, and that industry requires you to be more friendly, and I'm not naturally friendly. And I'm okay with that, but I've learned to have the balance of just kind of being what I call corporate Krystal when I'm out and about and doing the work, and then at home I get to be chill Krystal.
Right. So how long you been working with Trae the Truth?
8 years.
8 years. Wow.
I got to let you know now. My opportunity come from him, but it come from her. Nothing go through him without going through her. So anything that he approves, she got to extra approve. And I want to thank her for, because guess what? She saw the good in me. I had to get an interview on the phone with her, and she was tough, man. She was very tough. And I want everybody to know she the one that gave me the opportunity to be able to do the things that I did with Trae the Truth. And it's just many more to come, but she was tough. And it wasn't about your followers. It wasn't about how big your fan base was. It was about who you is as an individual. What you gonna do that stand out? What you gonna do that you not the same as others? Because everybody competing for the job. But it's something that you gotta do that's gonna stand out, that's gonna have you to win that job. And when I talked to her, it wasn't easy. She very tough, very tough. Being, she look good, she smile and stuff, but she tough. She a tough individual. And
you gotta be.
And I really appreciate that, man. She really tough. And what she doing and how she doing things and the things that she doing to help him and contribute to what he doing is a blessing, because he a hell of a rapper, he a hell of a person, but you ain't as good as the people that you keep around you. And it's very important that you keep good people around you, because good people keep you grounded. Sometimes you get caught up in, he could get caught up in the things that he's doing and what he's doing for the community, but she keep him grounded, keep him focused.
Right.
Keep him on his heels. That's very important.
So how'd y'all meet?
So originally I had a client. So outside of Trae, I do nonprofit and for-profit consulting.
Okay.
So I help small businesses, nonprofits, start up, grow, get funded. So I had a client that reached out to me to start her nonprofit, and Trae sponsored her at the time. I didn't know who was sponsoring her. I got paid and didn't really think anything of it. So funny story, the lady was having a mental health breakdown, and I didn't know what it was. She kind of spazzed on me, and I spazzed back. And he called me like, hey. I'm like, hey, it's for horses. What's up?
I told you, she tough, man.
Like, what's going on? He's like, this Trae. I'm like, okay, and this is Krystal. Like, what do you want? So he started telling me that she called and she complains. I was like, whoa, big fella, like, that's not how that went. I explained my situation to him, and I'm like, where I'm from, if you talk to me crazy, like, that's how we moving. So that's how the situation went. So we kind of talked about it. We didn't find a resolution because we two, like the ram and the bull, I always say. But it was respectful. But it was like, yeah, she older and she said this, and I'm like, look, you calling my phone, come correct. And we hung up. The lady ended up started taking her medicine, got back in communication with me. Harvey hit, and he was starting the process on what he was doing. And then I was in a space where my dad had a friend that worked at the Red Cross. He was bringing trucks. The client ended up reconnecting me back with him, and we got trucks moving in and out. And I was working with them for a while and never went down there. I don't really do manual labor. I tell anybody that. So we eventually got connected, and I still can't get rid of him. Let's just say it like that.
Most definitely. I want to say you've been making a big impact.
Yeah.
I saw you brought a lot of different people, man. And I want to ask you, how was it meeting J. Cole? Because, man, he one of the greatest. Like, how was it? How humble he is,
Yeah.
and how blessed you was to meet him, because y'all rode bikes, and I'm a big bike rider, and I saw you had a good time, and you get a chance to be around. I saw you been around T.I. You've been around a lot of different people. How big of an impact of meeting Trae the Truth help you grow and realize that just like anything possible? Like how did it help you?
So I'm a little different, right? I see Clifford Harris, I see Fraser Thompson. I don't see rappers. Like, I think before I got in this space, I'm not, as you know, I don't have a lot of followers because, like, I'm not big on that. I'm big on character. I'm big on integrity. Like, that's my thing. I was me before Trae. So while I enjoy my workspace, I love going to a good concert or going to a good show. I think my biggest thing is the nature of the person. I think what I love about J. Cole, I can say, is I love the God in him. Like, his aura breeds somebody who has the heart of God, right? So outside of the music, just the process, I've been able to see a great person, a great man. What a lot of people don't know about Trae is he's a rapper, he's a philanthropist, but he's a great friend. A lot of these people in the industry that he knows them. So, like, he's FaceTiming and talking to people and holding conversations, and then the different personal challenges that they face. Only each other would know how to, go through those processes and come out on top. So I think that's what I admire about them. When he goes through challenges, they'll call him and then he'll call them. So for me, that's what I like. While I do like their music and I'll go jam at their concerts, I prefer to focus on the character of a man.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's tough.
That's how you should do it, though, for sure.
Yeah.
A lot of people get so, like, star shocked. What's the word? Starstruck, and they can't really see the person. You know what I'm saying? Because they're just people at the end of the day.
They are.
You know, everybody bleeds red. Everybody hurts sometimes. Everybody goes through things. But it's nice to hear that the industry has that much of a support system amongst each other, because at the end of the day, they are competitors. Mm-hmm. They are all trying to have the #1 record, but they could still get in the phone and support each other.
Right. Mm-hmm. Definitely.
That's good to see.
Sure.
Yeah. So what other artists have you worked with?
So currently I'm working with an NFLer. I've worked with a couple NFLs.
Nice.
Trae was probably the first person that I acknowledged that I work with. Generally, I sign an NDA on both sides because I give them intellectual property and they, give me money. So as a person when you're working with somebody in the industry, being quiet and keeping people's business is important for me. So I do have this, every now and then you'll see me post something or somebody, but I try to keep their business solid. So a lot of times Trae's friends will ask me like, hey, can you help me do such and such? But discretion for me is important because that's how I take care of my children. That's how I pay my bills. But because I see them as people, I wouldn't go around telling people like, hey, I'm working with Donald Duck down the street. So I wouldn't do it just because that person is an artist or because they're an athlete. So I do discuss it, but honestly, not really.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I think that in the industry, that's respected. If you don't have that type of discretion, and then people aren't going to want to work with you.
For sure.
That's going to be quick out the industry. They'll be like,
sure.
oh, because people talk. It is a small circle at the end of the day. So if you're doing something like that, I get that. That makes sense.
And I don't like it. Like I've sat at the table with other individuals who have worked with artists or athletes and have told me their personal business. Like, that's not cool to me. Because at the end of the day, you never know if you have to re-walk through a door. So if a door that you walk through, you don't like it and something happens. And I think the internet makes us feel like we are entitled to know people's business and their lives. I'm not cool with that because I'm a private person. I'm from the streets. So the streets never did talk in my generation. So I take that as part of the process that I work with now. Like, I'm not going to tell your business, even if a friend and we fall out. I'm not getting on the internet and talking to 10 people because, number one, as a business owner, as a woman, that make me look crazy first. And then secondly, like, if we fell out, I'm going to take your secrets to the grave. Unless you did something to harm one of my children, there's really nothing to talk about. So that's kind of how I flow with it.
Right. Not just with business and personal, too.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Definitely. I got to ask her a question, man, because like I say, she's a very tough woman. So, I got to talk to you, man.
Okay.
We talked on the phone a lot of times, and you always hold me accountable, and you always expect a lot from me. Mm-hmm. And I want to ask you now. I want to ask the world this. I ain't never asked you this, but I'm going to ask the world this. I'm going to ask you in front of the world. Have I met the expectations from the time you met me to now. Come
Oh,
on now.
wow.
That's
You put me on the
tough.
spot.
I gotta know that because you watched me in the beginning stage, and it's funny how I met Trae the Truth. Like I said, I'll say it one more time just before I let her talk. That I had got into altercation with some guy that was just talking, and I was very upset about it. Instead of me going back and forth with the person, I just went. God just said, "Go back to the gym," and I said, "God, I've been to the gym 3 times," and He said, "You being obedient to what I'm telling you." And I said, "You know what? Let me just get back and go back to the gym." And when I went to the gym, I parked and I ran across Trae the Truth and his camera guys and a few guys, and I said, "Hey man, I want you to check out my video, and if you like it, just give me a chance. I just started a podcast, Drop the Jewels." I said I did this video about the difference between a dad and a father. He told his camera guy, you know what I'm talking about, to check it out. And the camera guy showed him. And when I was walking off, I said to myself, I said, if it's meant for you, it's gonna happen. And as I took like 5 steps to the gym, he made his camera guy come back and gave me. We changed information, and he said, "I'm gonna give you a call. I got Trae the Truth on weekend coming up." I said, "Man, he lying." He said, I said he lied. Then he said, "I'm gonna have my manager to call you." I said, "Man, please." A week passed, 2 weeks passed, and guess what? She called me, and this who called me, and I want to know, since you met me, from then to now, did I make the transition, or how did you see me grow in a way that, or did I meet your expectations?
So number one, I don't have expectations. I'm gonna say that. I think expectations lead to disappointments. And I only have expectations in myself. So I'm gonna start with that. I think if you want me to be real,
Come
or
on,
just
man,
real.
Listen, you always been real. Shit, you
Okay.
told me
Yeah,
that
real,
in
real.
life.
So I think that you're phenomenal, right? I think that there is so much in you, and I think that God has great work for you to do. What I do think is that there is a place of transition for you where you're not quite who God has called you to be, but you're not where you were. And I think you struggle in just going all the way to doing exactly what God wants you to do, whether it's because you haven't fully identified exactly what that looks like, or you are still struggling with running from the fullness of your calling. Right? And so I think, and I told you this before, and since you brought it up, I'm going to put you on the spot. Your inability to really just tap out of the world and fully take that time to give God a full surrender is why you haven't fully seen it. That's it. That's it. That's all.
Wow. Was that the answer you expected?
No. No. He wasn't. I
man.
asked him.
No.
He put himself on the spot.
No, I mean, I know. Oh man.
I mean, it's going to be a struggle for everybody. I mean, I feel like when she's saying that to you, I'm thinking of myself in the same way. It takes time, you know, and it takes a long time to really get fully committed on that path, the exact path. There's going to be things that we want to do that maybe we shouldn't do or something, you know, but it's just what it is, you know, but we're going to figure it out. That's part of life. That's life, you know, that's the steps of life.
So, I'm about to ask her how hard it was for you.
It was hard. I didn't do it. God made me do it, and I'll tell you that. My full surrender came from 2 things. The first thing was I was going in and out of a relationship, and I got on birth control and ended up with pulmonary embolism, which means I had blood clots in my lungs. Before that, God told me to go back to Louisiana. I was living in Dallas. God said, go back to Louisiana. I was like, okay, cool. I'm gonna finish school. I'm a PK, so I know God. I'm gonna finish school.
What is PK?
A preacher's kid.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna go back to school, and when I finish school, then I'm gonna go back to Louisiana. There were some challenges with my family that God wanted me to kind of figure out how to work out. I wasn't obedient to the point where the blood clots came, and they put me on a medication that my body did not. I was in the hospital for a few weeks, and my body resisted the medication, and the doctor was like, look, you're going to have to be taken care of until your body goes through a full dissolving of these blood clots. So I'm like, lost everything. Literally. I was working, I was in school, living my best life. I was at All-Star, Super Bowl, like top notch, get the most, not the lesser type of vibe. That's what I was on. And went back to Louisiana, lost everything from eviction to repossession, all of that. And God was like, one way or another, you're going to fully surrender to me because I have work for you to do. I was angry, upset. Ended up reconnecting back with my ex and got pregnant. My son was born with holes in his heart.
Wow.
And he had obstruction, which is what they call like a blockage. So he had blockage and holes. 2 months, he ended up with needing heart surgery, unexpected. And God was like, either you're going to surrender or I'm going to take your child. So at that moment for me, it was like at no point can I not give a full surrender and watch my child be taken away from me. Right there at the hospital, from Lafayette, they airmated him to New Orleans in Children's. And the nurse told me that he's going to have to have what they call a shunt, which is a temporary situation where later on he'll have to have a couple more surgeries in his life. So I'm like, all right. But yeah, I know we're not going to do that. Or he can have a full repair. So I'm like, all right, God, what we doing? He's like, if you fully surrender to me, I am going to heal your child. I did it. My son is 12. He never had another surgery. And sometimes surrendering, you're saying yes to God, but you don't know what that looks like.
That's the thing.
You don't know
when
what it looks like.
When I say yes to God, I don't know what it looked like.
But it's
She told me something, brother. It just shook me. I told him she wanted me to go to explain that to me again, because that scared me. And I told to my mama now. I don't talk to mom do that too. I talk to her about anything. But when you told me that you wanted me to go in, God laid it on y'all for me to go into this surrender to where I'm just away from everything, just to tap in, to listen. That scared me, because I know what he trying to do. I know his work. I'm fully committed, but not to him. I'm all the way committed. And that's just something that's scared, because I know what he want of me and what he expect of me. Can I give it to him? Yeah, but
if he put you on the earth to do whatever that is to you, because when we were talking and he put it on my heart to tell you, I don't know what that is for you. So if he knows what it is and that's what he put you on earth to do, why can't you give it to him? And if you're not going to give it to him, then what is your purpose on earth?
But give him what?
He don't
what
need
is
you
it?
here.
For me and the viewers, what is it that you're supposed to do?
He may not be able to say.
Man, I don't know, man. She know.
Oh, okay.
She know. I don't know, man.
Okay.
So explain to him what you told me.
So
do you still remember?
So I can give you a synopsis, because I don't remember exactly what the conversation was. I think for me, I believe that his surrendering, I can't say what he's going to do after that surrender, but for him, the surrendering would be to give a full disconnection from social media, from this podcast, from showing himself to the world, and getting on God's altar, whatever, if that's his prayer closet, if that's his floor at his house, and go on a fast. And tell God, I give you all of me, not to just the part of me that he's screaming on the internet, or the part of him that's in the gym beating on his chest, but the part of him that says, Lord, whatever your work is that I must do, if it's bringing souls to you, if it's saving young men, if it's going back into the prison, whatever that looks like, that's what I'm going to give you. And because the Bible talks about in Matthew 6:33, seek ye first the kingdom, and everything else will be added unto us. So if what we do for God is not fully seeking the kingdom, then we can't receive everything else that's being added unto us, because we're not giving the fullness of who we are.
Well, I'll tell you my opinion on that. I mean, I'm not probably the best person to speak on it, but I'm a believer. This is what I think. I think that we're in a new age of the world where like religion is been like so confused, and it's like a lot of people have lost their way. So I feel like one of the only ways to really get to like a lot of these people out there, a lot of the people who listen to rap music and that's all they do, they just bumping it. And that's all they don't really take in a lot of positive, a lot of positivity in their life, and they don't have God in their mind at all. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of people like this. So I feel like it's not just rap music, it's any music, you know what I'm saying? Just people are just distracted is what I'm trying to say. Mm-hmm. And God isn't one of the things they focus on. So for us to be able to use those same platforms that all this stuff is pushed on to show them like God in front of them and show them a positive message, I feel like we're able to reach people that God can't reach right now. These are people that God's trying to reach, but he can't reach them because they're not listening. So for us to be able to turn their antennas and be like, hey, look, I can't change their life, but I can at least make you start, put that spark in their mind. Just like Tupac said, he wasn't going to change the world, but he was going to spark the mind that did. And it's like, that's what we're trying to do, is spark the minds of the people who may never change their life. You know, just that one moment where like, you know what, some people be commenting like, I'm going to give it a try. We'll be like, turn your life to God and stuff like that. And they'll actually comment like, I'm going to try it. And even if it doesn't work, maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. I feel like that's what, in my opinion, what God put us here to do, is to be able to reach the people. And that's why, because I'm somebody who's a newer believer. You know, I've always believed in God. I'm not really into religion, but I'm kind of turning my life to God as we speak, you know. So for me, and then him, someone who's already been, you know, in the church and been a part of God, had God in his life his whole life, to put us together is to reach like this wide range of people who just really aren't tuned into God right now.
So I don't disagree with that, right? And I think him taking the break is not a complete ending. What I think it's like a time of where he goes in and gets refilled. But I feel I get what you're saying. The part that's missing on that is we're the vessel. He's the source. You're plugging into the source. Without the source, you can't do what you do because he's speaking through you.
Exactly.
But if he's not empowered, you can't pour from an empty cup.
Yeah.
And he could, number one, he can't fool me. Period, point blank, in a nutshell.
Look at you. Look at you. See what I'm saying? I allowed you to
you brought it up.
No. I agree
not
with
on
you.
your part, but I'm saying for him, he's functioning like his cup is full, and it isn't.
No, I actually get what you're saying now. Yeah, you have to give yourself that time. You know what I'm saying? Like, even if it's a vacation or just giving that break where you kind of unplug for a while, for sure. You don't want to be too plugged in. There's such a thing as too plugged in.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you know, you want to be, because of what we do, you want to be plugged in enough to keep things moving. But they always have to take a break sometimes. I agree. Just to kind of recharge. Like you said, you can't pour if your cup is empty. Because if you already gave everybody everything, you have nothing left for yourself. How can you keep pouring?
Yeah, that's what.
And I think what God is wanting from him is to reopen up a higher level of getting connected to him. Whereas there's a direct connection, because I'm not speaking from a religious standpoint. I'm speaking from a relationship standpoint. God wants to pour a different level of anointing in you at a higher level. So when you do pour out, people will feel and hear his spirit through you. It won't be Desmond chapter 1, verse 1. It'll be all of God.
And I'll tell you what, she's speaking from a perspective of someone who cares and knows you.
Oh, she
you know
cares,
what I'm saying?
man. Come on, I give you
Yeah.
up.
I don't hug, but okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
High five.
She's speaking from a place, somebody who cares, and she's trying to push you. You know, it's like, because, you know, we always talk about the difference between just like being good and great. And we're good right now, but if you want to be great, there's going to be some sacrifices, some things you got to do. You know, whether we're not going to speak on every topic that we're talking about right here, but you get it. You got to make changes. That's what's best for you.
And because he brought it up,
yeah,
he knows it's necessary. Because I wouldn't have brought it up. That's private. I wasn't going to even go to.
Yeah.
But y'all already know, man, we got the one and only Miss Krystal, man. You know, she keep.
Well, I mean, that's great to see for the people, because a lot of people look up to what we're doing, and they have to understand that we're not perfect. Like we're trying to figure it out too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
nobody perfect. Like we want to be great too, just like everybody else. And then what greatness is just a challenge. You know, and you got to really become great, you have to be fully in tune with God. I feel like we're doing God's work, but that's why I also try to work on myself and try to cut some things out of my life and do better, because, you know, if I want to sit here and tell people how they should do things, I need to be doing shit right too, you know what I'm saying?
So most definitely, man. Oh, man, y'all heard it from her. You know, it's bittersweet.
So, look, I got a question for you.
Let's go.
So what's the hardest struggle that you've been through in your life?
Saying yes to God. Which is how I know this is an important topic, right? Because there's things that for instance, I'm a naturally aggressive person. So what God is doing in me right at this moment is killing my flesh, my ego. because sometimes when I feel, me and Trey had this conversation earlier today, when people play with me, I feel like they need to know that I'm not just Coach Krystal. I'm not just a consultant. Don't let these degrees fool you. When I put on my glasses, don't let these glasses fool you. Like, I can get active if that's what you want to do. You know, and I think a lot of times people, they will try you and then become victim. And so sometimes my ego is big. And I have big kahunas, even though I'm a girl. Sometimes I want to get to that point where I let people know, stop playing with me. But as God is taking you to the next level, and as you're asking him for more things, bigger bank accounts and more success and to do his will, some of those things have to die. If I'm going to get on here and share his goodness with y'all, then I can't be fighting tomorrow. Now, I am real, and I tell people, I don't know what I'm finna do tomorrow. It's one day at a time with me. But I think that's my biggest challenge, is when he's requiring a new yes from me. Or I want you to tone this down, or give up cussing. I'm a cusser. So it's like, as I'm starting to try to transition out of those things, it's hard. Because I feel like sometimes people need to know I'm that nigga. Like, don't play with me. But at the end of the day, only what I do for God, only what I do for the community, only what I do for people will stand at the end.
Right. I think that what you just explained is everybody's struggle. Mm-hmm. Anybody who has confidence in themselves, they're gonna struggle with that. I struggle with it. Sometimes I'll be like, I'm gonna teach you a lesson. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, who am I to be able to say I'm gonna teach you a lesson? Like, you just did that. I'm gonna show you. We all go through that
For sure.
But it's like a level of humbleness. And you know what the crazy thing is almost every time we do that. Well, I ain't gonna say every time, but most times we do it, we end up being like, we should have did it. You know,
Yes.
afterwards you're like,
Man,
maybe I should have did it. Or if you don't say you shouldn't have did it, you're at least going to say, I could have did it different.
Or I'd be like, girl, you took that too far. Like,
Yeah,
you
exactly.
doing too much. Like,
Yeah.
I tell that to myself sometimes.
Because like after you open that door, it's open. And it can go from here. It might go this far, but it's gonna go to
Mine
a point.
usually go fall.
Yeah, exactly. Me too. So that's why what I've learned, because I'm a Taurus. So, so we're going to...
Leo.
Okay, yeah. So my girl's a Leo. So I know about Leos. But, and
We're
it's...
going to keep it cute now.
No, I mean,
No,
and
just
I understand Leos. And I understand
Yeah.
it's kind of the same way with Leos too. It's like once you step into there, it's once you walk through that door, it's gonna
that
go.
line coming out.
Yeah. So it's like what I've learned to do is just not walk out the door. You know, that's how I.
That's the best thing.
Yeah. Now, if I do decide to walk out the door, I just think about it.
Yeah.
I think about it a little, like I analyze it. You know, I try to just because I used to just bust out that motherfucker. You know what I mean? Be like, what's up? You know.
What's up?
But that's when you do that. It's never
Right.
never nothing gonna go
And then
right.
you have to repeat. If it's a test for you, you got to repeat. It's like going around the mulberry bush where you end up right back in a situation where it's like, okay. And then I went from being overly aggressive and addressing stuff. Then I went to not saying nothing at all. And then it's like you still have to have a balance.
Yeah, you can't do that.
I start going to the other end, and it's like, okay, now you're getting that balance. And so it's just all about growing and maturing, whether it's natural or in a spiritual space.
Yeah, because usually if you take a moment, like you don't immediately react, you'll react better. I think that's one thing I learned. Don't immediately react to things. Like take a second, think about it. Because when you immediately react, you're like, damn, why did I just say that? Like, what am I saying right now?
But the ego will be like,
say that
let
shit.
people play with us. Like,
Yeah.
wait, hold on.
She tough. I'm trying to tell
you.
I'm trying to tell y'all something. She a tough woman, man. But I got a question for you. What we can expect in the next 6 months from you? Because you have you got Trae the Truth weekend coming up, and I know how passionate is you about that, and how excited you is about that. Last year you did a hell of a job. You bought a lot of different people, Trinidad James, J. Cole, Turk. You bought Anthony Hamilton. You bought a lot of different people. And for you to do these type of things and going through these situations, because I know it'd be a lot on you. I don't know who else behind you that help you, but I know you do so much to make sure the event come out good, to make sure Trae Truth impress and have everything, and happy for what he put together, what we could expect this year from Trae the Truth event, because I know you working on it.
I can't tell you that. I have to kill you.
Come on now. So you're going to hide it from us. But one question
No, you asked another question. Like, what do we see you doing in the next 6 months? Like,
next 6
what's
months,
coming up?
is it any goal that you trying to reach? Any What is your goal?
So I'm charged with a assignment that's my own. I just launched. Well, I have a retreat for women that I do every year.
I saw that last year, man. That's
Yes.
super excited. Do they allow men?
No, we don't allow men.
No matter how fine he is.
It don't matter how. That is irrelevant. And who said you were fine? You. Okay.
I like that.
So, y'all love women. Obviously, y'all have moms and family of women, and we care for so much. We make sure y'all good. I have 9 men on the ABN and the Relief Gang team. I'm the only girl, so I have just brothers. So I've been taking care of people my whole life. I'm over 40, but still look great. So
You don't look it. You don't look it.
You look good.
it's a hater amongst us. But my goal is to teach women how to relax and balance, just like what I was saying with you, because I'm a mom of 5. I have 2 of my own businesses. Trae and I run about 12 entities altogether. I have other clients outside of him. And so you can be at a deficit. So the Relax brand, I've transitioned it from a retreat to just the retreat. So I have a book coming out on that. I also have another book coming out that'll be out in the end of the year. It's called The Shit That No One Told Me. A life about learning things, a book about learning things, School of the Hard Knocks. I do have Trae Day. We do have a very surprising event that we'll have coming up called Dear Daddy, which is going to be the discussion of Trae's story about the transition from with his daughter. And then we have Christmas, holidays, the Special Needs Day, all of those things. And I have a couple clients that I'm launching some businesses for. So in a
Most
nutshell,
definitely. One of the things that I love him doing the most is how he take the time out to do it with the disabled kids. That's when he do the bowling alley and stuff. That mean a lot, man, because a lot of people got disabled kids and they don't know how important it is to bring them to the bowling alley that can't walk, can't bowl, but just take the time out to do it. Now, we talking about Trae the Truth, a 6'2", 6'3", 6'4" guy that's big and tough, but got the heart of a teddy bear.
Yeah.
That's important,
I mean,
man.
he gives a lot back to the community in general. A lot of the rappers don't. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure they do. They do give back to the community, but not. I don't feel like to the level that he does. Like, he really takes out of his time to do that.
I really feel like that's his superpower, but also his assignment per se. I know a lot of people do give back. I think, and it's a gift and a curse because we put it on social media. A lot of times people don't understand why we do that. They think we do that because we want to be seen. It's like, nah, Trae give a lot out of his personal pocket. On my way over here, I called him. We need to do something to help somebody else. And he was like, how much is it? All right, just take care of it. That's his vibe. But when we do it on camera, sometimes other people want to get involved. We found sponsors that way. Bowling alleys and places have been like, oh, y'all could come over here and do this for free.
I'm going to tell you something. There's going to be a lot of haters in the comments. You'll be like, oh, why are you giving to the homeless and you gotta film it? Like, there's always, like, anytime you see someone giving back to the homeless, that's what you see in the comments. I'm going to tell you my perspective. You're showing the world, like what Trae's doing, put it on camera. Don't never stop doing that because you're motivating other people. This is the most important thing. It's like a chain reaction. You're motivating other people to do it. And that's the main thing. People are going to hate all they want, but the people who are there, it was for them. It's for to put it on the internet to show other people who are in a position to do it or will one day be in a position to do it. Hey, I saw Trae doing that. I like that. I liked how the people reacted. Like, I'm going to do that. So you're motivating the next generation of people. And that's always going to be on the YouTube and stuff like that or on social media. So don't let them haters ever make you feel like you shouldn't do that because they will. And I see all the time with influencers getting bashed for that. I'm like, hey, like you're an influencer. Just like Trae, he's a rapper, but he's an influencer. He's influential. So influence people to do better.
Yeah.
And
I think too, a lot of times people don't understand, like when we get out there, especially with the homeless, my thing, I call them unhoused. They be like, they want to take a picture. They pose. They so cool. They tell us their stories. They know him because they know when he coming out. He might pop up. Like yesterday, we popped up. They ask for pictures. So people don't get that. I think with things on social media, a lot of times you don't really have time to explain to 1,200 people and 1 million people like what's happening. But we do what we do, and God really blesses us, and he opens doors through the time that I've been with him. Because when I met him, Trae was paying out his own pocket. like a lot of money.
So you helped him figure out how to, because you said nonprofits, you figure out a way to make more sense for him. But that means his heart's in the right place 100%.
Yeah.
There's no question about it. You just proved it. Like, you know what I'm saying? So a lot of people can't say that. They aren't going to put it out of their pocket until they already have that set up, that setup where it's not really going to be out their pocket. He was doing it because he wanted to do it.
For sure. And I'm the bad cop. I say no, and people come up to him and they'll ask him like, "Hey, can you pay my rent?" And I'm like, "Nah, like we not doing that."
I think I asked Krystal to give him a jacket. She said, "Who it come from? How many spirits on it? Is it mean good? Woo-de woo. We done accept
Don't bring
it."
that home.
Yeah, that's what she said.
And it's nothing personal.
So I love, like I said, I would love for her to be a part of us to help us grow, because she mean good, but she very tough. And when I sit on that stage, man, and just look at, a strong black young woman, young lady, older woman, to put she dealing. Come on now, girl. She dealing with so many different men with different personalities, trying to make sure everybody accounted for, everybody comfortable, everybody good. I gotta ask you, after you did what you did, the Trae the Truth event with the father figure, and after you laid down in a bed, did you feel you succeeded the day that did it meet your expectations? Because you looked good now. I ain't gonna lie to you. You had that right on. You looked good. You looked good. But a woman that's walking around dealing with multi-millionaires.
Yeah, you was
trying to make sure everything go good. Make sure everybody be a part. Make sure everybody know what their role is. I'm talking about not this. She ain't a multi-millionaire yet. But dealing with different multi-million-dollar people and still be respected, because ain't nobody gonna play with her. Did you feel good when you laid down that night and saw the outcome of what you did?
I don't remember. Yeah. So, no, not always, because I'm a perfectionist, right? That's
why she need a man, y'all.
Who said I didn't have a man? But okay, I don't talk my personal business.
Listen, y'all, listen.
No, I already know what you're gonna say. Yeah, but go ahead.
But it's like, of course, I could always see things be better. That particular day, what nobody knew was that we had artists that were supposed to come in, because there was some issues with Microsoft and the planes, and people they didn't fly in. So a lot, like Skilla was supposed to be there, but he wasn't able to be there. Ace Hood was supposed to come in. So I had some challenges. So a lot of it was me working things in the car on the way up there. I'm at the bowling event with the special needs in the back making calls. I was getting flights at the club the night before. So a lot of things, it doesn't look always like I wanted it to look, but I think the message was brought across. Everyone did a great job that was on the stage, but there's always room for improvement, which is why each year we elevate, because there's room for improvement.
Well, it's because that you see that. That's why you are who you are. There's a lot of people who are satisfied with anything. You'll be like, "Oh, that was great. That was perfect." I don't think if the type of person you are, I'm that way too. There's never perfect. Perfect doesn't exist. Even if Ace Hood and Skrilla, all of them came, you still would have been like, man, that one thing, the lighting, the whatever, something that you're like, that you notice because you're the only one who noticed it. Well, you and Trae and the people who are running the show.
I don't think he noticed.
Trae does not.
Trae don't even know
that.
Right.
She noticed, bro.
But the people who are on the inside too notice.
Yeah.
But we're in the because I was there too. We're in the crowd.
You was the only white boy.
I didn't even notice.
Yeah.
See, and I never look at the people. Like, I might say hey to you, but it's like a blur.
Yeah.
I'm just, I be working.
Well, no, wasn't Snoop Dogg's manager? He like,
that's my boy.
Yeah.
He was there to support me,
we were
man.
definitely too.
And you did a hell of a job, man.
But it's like, what was I about to say? It was like, but either way, even if all that went right, you're the only one that's going to notice because you have all the inside information. From our perspective, it was great,
Yeah, it looked
and I be cutting up. I give my team hell. I be on the phone cutting up. I fuss with Trae all the time. Like
Most definitely, she did a hell of a job, man.
Thank you.
And I before, because we gonna let you dig a little deep in it, but I gotta ask you this, and I truly believe, man, this is important. You not just Trae the Truth manager, assistant, but I'm gonna ask you this because the world want to know this. how big of an impact you is to his daughter. Because I saw you this weekend. I was going to pull up to the event with him launching the shoes again. And I went to LA for an opportunity. And I saw you take the time out. Because you don't have no young kids no more. Mm-hmm. You take the time out to deal with his daughter. To do so much. I saw her in the car with you, smiling, having a good time. We talking about a person that raised their kids to where you don't have no more young daughters. To the time you take. Because, listen, she smiled for Trae, but I ain't never seen her smile the way she smiled for you. Now, you look that like, that's the only time you look soft, Krystal. When she bully you. Like, I can't get you to be soft. Trae can't get you, but when his daughter get you, it's like, you can have it.
So I like kids and I like old people. That's my heart, right? I was raised by my grandparents. I'm soft when I feel safe. Let me just say that. That's caveat. When I feel safe and protected, I'm soft. I'm hard at work. That's work for me. I manage everything. But there are spaces in private that I'm soft when I need to be. However, I've been with Trae since before she was born. So I'm TT, that's
right.
that's mine. His other kids, we're a village. They make sure my kids are straight. When my daughter graduated from college, she's a pharmacist. They showed up. If she needed books or whatever, my son got a clothing line that Trae's helping him with.
That's dope.
We family at this point. I can't get rid of him. It's like, and I don't do well when we're getting close to people because me and my family aren't always that close. We have some challenges. But it's not my story to tell. But what I can say is that Trae has been had a very challenging co-parenting relationship since the beginning, pretty much. And sometimes when that is the focus for the parents, somebody has to cover the child. Trae may not be a lover, but he's a damn good father. And even when I have, because I got adult children, so when you start raising adults, it's a different type of thing.
That's why I say when you with her, it's a different you.
Yeah,
it's a different you.
And my youngest son get a different version of me, just like she do, because I'm not in survival mode no more. My life is at a place of peace. So she is a handful, but ironically, we have the same birthday.
Really?
So we born July 28th.
The same birthday?
The same birthday.
That's interesting.
So he has two menaces on his hands. Like, she headstrong. She's very articulate. She's amazing. And very resilient for the challenges that life has tried to bring her.
That's what I see about her.
Outside of me being like an auntie to her, we resonate really well together, and I can see things on her or her say stuff, and I know what it is. Number one, because I've been parenting 26 years. My brothers are 30. I've raised them pretty much, and so. But I also am her because we have the same birthday.
Yeah.
Our personalities
that
are
really
very similar.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I see. When I see her, I saw her, and I'm like, "Oh my God,
that's crazy."
Yeah,
it's like she could transfer to understanding her more than she could transfer understanding other people, and that's why I say, what's the transition like dealing with his daughter and dealing with you, because you tough and she tough. Mm-hmm. It's like a goat against a goat. She tough. She gonna say that his daughter gonna say what she feel.
She do.
And knowing Krystal, they gonna run.
I be like, girl, don't play with me.
That's what I'm saying. I know at good times that you get challenged.
But I also know it's not a challenge because she's a sweet kid. And the thing about children, like, there's the fun Krystal, but when I'm like, no, we're not doing that, she know, because she's still respectful. But what most people don't know, I was like the co-parent mediator. So she did not live in the States when she lived with her mom. So I would go get her.
All right.
When Trae was out of town, I would go with him to make sure she was lit. Well, he has full custody now. Yeah. But she was in Vegas and she was in LA at one point. So I would go just as much as he would. Wow. So her and I, we was some midnight flyers together.
Wow. I mean, that's really, like, you're doing a lot for Trae. I definitely respect that. You're going like the extra mile. being there for them. And being that she has the same birthday as you, that's like confirmation.
That's
like confirmation.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That you're doing the right thing and you're in the right
crazy.
place. You know what I'm saying?
That's crazy.
Because there's 365 days. Like, what's the odds?
What's the odds of that? But most definitely, man.
So I know you've been working with artists. Like, what advice do you have for artists who are aspiring right now? You know, they're doing their thing. They got some decent music. They just don't know what to do. Like, they just got some roadblock in their way.
Two things. I would say personally, be developed as an artist. As a person, your personal development, and be professional. The crashing out, the spazzing out, getting on the internet, doing all this wacky stuff. No one respects you as a business person. So making sure the development is within you. Even in business, I always tell people, make sure you're whole before you come out there, because you don't want to get to a certain level and you at a place where your talent is phenomenal, but your personality and your maturity can't keep you there. That's a problem. The second thing I would say, have your business in order. Business is essential. Making sure your paperwork is on point, reading the information. There's ChatGPT and all these other things. Getting a contract and not being so thirsty that you sell your soul, and not necessarily in a spiritual sense, but in the fact that you give somebody the right to your art, to where you're not protecting yourself and building a legacy for you and your family. For me, that's essential.
Right. I agree 100%. Back in the day, they used to have artist development. So the label was going to sign you. If you're going to go anywhere in the industry, the label is going to sign you. They're going to give you artist development before you're even known. Nobody even knows who you are. Or you know, you're still new in the game. Now that doesn't exist. The labels aren't going to sign you and do artist development. So you as an artist, you're responsible for that. You have to be fully developed as a person, like you said, whole. And business is part of it. I feel like they're not going to teach you that, though. The industry doesn't want you to know business, because if you know business, and then you know how to not get effed over. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So you gotta understand that by yourself. And I think a third one is also your team. Yeah. Having the right team around you. Because the thing about nowadays is, when I was hearing you, I'm thinking in my head, like, a lot of that crazy stuff the artists do, all that clout shit, like the 6ix9ine shit, like all that shit is why these artists blow up. You know, so if you have the right team around you that are professional, you're the artist, you're not really professional. You're on the internet going wild. But when they hit you up, your team is like right on point with everything. It's like, but I still feel like you're probably right. Maybe those big endorsements are never going to come for some of those artists who are out there clout chasing, just doing that wild stuff to go viral. And they're like, I don't want to touch that, all the big companies. So you feel like that's holding them back?
So I think that it minimizes longevity, right? It may be great for now. Like, yeah, you can go viral and you might get a couple million followers, but is that follower always equating to $1? Because we're also living in the world where clout is amazing, where people like being popular opposed to getting paid. Right. So I think when we're talking from, because Trae is an artist that's older and he's been in the game a long time, but who's paying to see an 80-year-old rapper these days? So what is the rapper? What is the artist? What is the athlete building that will be sustainable for them long term? And will your crash out focus on your sustainability? Wow. So back in the gap, it's like, okay, well, certain artists could have do certain things, and we now see artists doing things to better themselves and to build a legacy that when they go, their children will be able to still live. But most people don't have that because they're like, oh, I'm on social media, I could be X, Y, and Z and have a great time, and people gonna follow that. But long term, what does that look like?
Man, that's so powerful. You really said it. And a lot of the people who are rapping around, they don't want to hear that. You know what I'm saying? But what you're saying is that if you're going to do all that stuff and go viral and do all those crazy things, you're most likely you're going to get locked up. People, something's going to happen. You're going to crash out doing that type of stuff. I agree. The only way you're going to get that longevity is to do it like the way you said, but it's just that it's a longer route. It's a longer road, and that's why a lot of people don't want to take that road.
But it's microwave versus oven. Like I said, my grandparents.
Come on now, Krystal, you dropping the jewels. You say microwave versus the oven. That's very tough because a lot of people take the microwave road. Yeah. A lot of people want things instantly, but not knowing that everything that you work towards that you want to be forever lasting, you gotta take the oven. And that's now. Come on now, Krystal. You already told the world about me. You book me. I see one thing about Big Team 28. I don't mind letting somebody tell me what I need to do better and what they feel I could do better, because I know the type of heart you have and the type of person you is. You would never step me wrong. And I know when you do things or say things, you mean it from the heart for the good. And you see good. See, God would allow you to see good in people before they see good in themselves. And the things that you've been doing, man, let me tell you something. Krystal, I must ask you, I got to ask you, is it anything in this world today that would make you feel satisfied for the things that you've done, the accomplishments you reach, and the future that you have that's going to become? Is it anything that you want, that you will feel that you accomplished, that made you feel good for all the things that you have done in this life at the age you at?
To hear God say, well done.
Krystal, why you always
That's
come on,
spiritual,
Krystal.
okay?
See what I'm saying?
But
You
I'm gonna
always
give it
coming
to you.
at me with this.
I'm gonna give it to you natural, because I'm both, right? I think for me it would probably be to find a partner that gets me.
Krystal, is hard.
Well,
It's hard. I gotta tell you,
Well, damn.
it's hard because guess what? You said it yourself. You told the kahunas.
Right, but
And when you told kahunas,
Nope.
that means it's hard to.
No.
When you told kahunas, this we
Not at
talking about.
home.
Listen, we talking about a woman that's strong, 5 kids, deal with Trae the Truth, with different avenue, different mindsets, different trials and tribulations. We talk about a woman that got tough skin, alligator skin. It's hard to please.
Well, I'm gonna tell you something. My girl, she's a Leo. She's like that too.
That's what I'm saying.
And you would be
D Phlo,
surprised.
Do you ever feel happy for
But
the
she's
things?
a good woman when she feels she's under you, right? So she handles everything.
Yeah.
And when she's with you, she's quiet. She you see a side of her that most people don't get to see, right?
Mhm.
See?
But see, what I'm saying is, surprisingly, I'm a Taurus, she's a Leo. So a lot of people would think a Leo would want to be with like a more calmer sign, somebody who, because but I feel like we're the perfect match. You might not know what you're looking for, the right thing. You know what I'm saying?
I know it.
You might, okay, so
I'm
know.
not looking. Let me start there. Let me start there.
It might not be what you think you're looking for that's going to fit you is what I mean.
So I think it's more along the line like communication, understanding, and peace. Because this is the thing, if I go hard for the people I work with, if I go hard for you as a friend, if I go hard for my homegirls and cover them in prayer and check on them and all that, what wouldn't I do at home? But what people don't understand about me, I cook, I clean, I run bath water, I do all that. But
I know shit was burnt at the house.
I know you learned.
Well,
I'll put your cooking to shame now. Don't get it
Y'all,
twisted.
hey, listen, man. Don't look at the beautiful face, man.
Ask
That
them.
motherfucker
Ask
crazy.
my team. They all ask me to cook. They asking me what I'm cooking for Easter because I'm a hospitable person. That's the benefit of being from the boot.
All right.
I take care of my
I gotta
people.
ask D Phlo
Oh, my
before.
God.
We're not gonna keep digging in her ass right now, but I
ain't
gotta
never
ask you,
ducking no
let
smoke.
Let me tell you. I want to ask you this. This is the most I ever talk when we have a guest. D Phlo always do the talking. What today, right now, would it take to complete your life? To complete your life to be where you want to be at in
To
life?
see my children successful. It don't have nothing to do with me because I've done my part. I mean, I have amazing kids. My kids I'm finding them being stable. They're great. I don't have no problem. I've been praying for one of my children, and just today, she called me with a praise report that the thing I was asking God for happened for her. So I'm cool. But to see them successful, sustainable in a place where they can take care of themselves functionally is important to me. And to watch my youngest grow, older and be okay. That's all I want. That's all I ever asked God for, was to save my children and make sure that they were safe and protected. That's it.
I feel that. And I feel like that's a deep thing to say because it's also about what you do in your life. Mm-hmm. If it's for them to reach the level of success that you really want, it's going to take you to also reach a level of success that can assist them to get there. You know, I'm sure they're going to do it in their own either way, but
Yeah,
it's just,
definitely.
but it's still pushing on you to be like, I got to do my thing though. You know, I don't want
Yeah.
them to be trying to do for me. I want to be able to do for them. Yeah, but if they can do it for me, hey, there's nothing wrong with that too. You know?
I'm waiting.
It'll
Hit her
come.
with it, D Phlo. Talk to her.
So
now. We got the one and only Miss Krystal, the one and only.
So a lot of the artists out there, like the rappers who are in the game right now, what do you feel like they're missing? Like, what do you feel like is the one thing that they're just missing? It like if they could just do that thing, the development, huh?
Yeah.
So a lot of artists aren't developed.
I think they're awesome, right? There's a lot of different creators out there now. But when I watch them speak, it's not that they don't speak well or they need to have a certain level of education. I just think that if artists, even entrepreneurs, if we would think about more where we're going rather than where we are currently, we could communicate and articulate ourselves a little bit better. And I feel like our business would be sustainable to the point where we could leave a legacy behind. That's what I think is missing.
Yeah, that legacy. Some artists get it, and you said earlier about like you gotta have other ways to make money than just music.
For sure.
Like in the longevity of it, because like music at a certain time, it's gonna be harder to tour. It's gonna be harder to do these things. It's gonna be harder to put out albums all the time. It's gonna hit. So you have to have another way to make money. So if you want to create a legacy, it is like you said with your kids. Like you gotta get them right. Just like how he's helping your child do a clothing, like your son. You said, like even that, just building that legacy with everybody around you, getting everybody up.
Everybody eats. That's the goal. Everybody eats. But like I tell my son, I'm all cool with him being a creator, but what's the fallback? If with our current administration, if you can't get your products the way you want it, then what's next? So he's also going to school to do something different, to have a trade, because I do believe you need to have multiple streams of income.
You do.
We'll
100%.
love to wear your son clothes.
Yeah.
I got you.
We'll let her wear your son clothes, man. Come on. On the Drop the Jewels, boys, man. We talking about
We'll do
the
that.
one and only Miss Krystal. We talking about she very strong, very passionate about what she doing and what she continue to do and how she doing it. Man, it's just a blessing to have you to come to show up on the Drop the Jewels. And I want to tell you this. I got to give you your flowers. On what you doing and what you continue to do and what God have for you, you showing up every day. You showing up. I watch you each and every day, man. When I see you post, when I see you come up on my timeline, I say, my goodness gracious. You need them type of people around you. She listen, a lot of people just tell me what I want to hear. She told me what I didn't want to hear. I ain't gonna lie to you.
He been off the rest of the podcast.
That hurt me, but to be honest, and I'm gonna keep it real with you, D Phlo gonna be the first person to send me that clip. And he gonna expect me to post that and collab with you because you called me out on some of my weakness.
See, and it just goes back to what I said earlier. I don't mind making us look. Sometimes we don't look good in our clips. You know what I mean? To us, because we want to show people that look, we don't always look good, and maybe you can relate to. We want to relate to everybody. There's a lot of people who need to hear that. They don't want to hear it. I ain't gonna lie. We get a lot of likes and stuff, but
like that,
there's probably.
I'm sorry.
Nah. I mean, no. I get it though. I mean,
You
I get
wanted
it.
you
asked for it. You
You
asked for
don't
it.
know me like that. You knew better when you asked me.
I know. I wanted to hear.
Well, I was seeing myself in you when she was saying it because she has a point. I mean, we do have to take that break sometimes, and we do have to fully commit to
And it
God.
could be a planned break. I mean, you don't have to broadcast it to the world, but y'all could record. Like, if for this, you could record it in advance and take a couple weeks. Like, I mean, it could happen.
Well, that's what would happen. That's how it would go down. You know what I'm saying?
Most definitely,
You being
man.
extra for no reason.
But anyways,
Most
so I got a
definitely.
question. So I feel like I got a couple more questions for you. So one is for the women these days. What advice do you have for this generation of women? We see all this stuff on social media, and so I just want to hear a woman's perspective, speaking to the women, like 18, 20-year-old, 16-year-old girls.
If I could speak to my own self at that point, I would say give yourself some grace. I think that, sometimes we move too fast. We have expectations for people. And then also give other people the same grace that you would want somebody to give you. I think in just early on in dating, in being in a long-term relationship, I showed up as the person that I was at the time, which was a little more hood and a little more ratchet. And the person that I was with received a different version of me than I am today. And I misrepresented myself. And in that
she misrepresented herself.
Because
I gotta ask you, hold on, I'm gonna let you start.
No, you're good.
Would you, if you didn't misrepresent yourself, would y'all still be together today?
No.
All right.
We would have never found each other because of in my misrepresentation of myself, I found who he was at that time.
All right.
And so by me I knew that I was deeper than I was professing to be.
All right.
I knew that I had a higher calling on my life.
Okay.
I knew that I was supposed to be doing more than being in the streets.
Okay.
And so he got the version of me that was hurt and broken and all these things.
So
right?
that's where a lot of women fall short at. That's where a lot of women fall short at,
Yeah.
right? A lot of men get them when they hurt, broken.
Men look for that. I can't stand hearing that.
But
don't get us kicked off the show now. Come on now, talk about that, because a lot of people fall for men because they broken.
But on both sides, it's a twofold situation, right? Because I mean, I was looking for somebody
A
with
D-boy.
basically
A provider.
So I wasn't looking for a provider because
D-boy.
if we want to keep it real, he went from rocks to bricks with me. But
And why is that? Why do women look for the D-boy?
Yeah, come on now. Hey, we ain't gonna kick.
And we're men, so we would like to understand from the woman's perspective.
Everybody like a little bad boy, a little roughness, a little toxicity. Everybody likes it's edgy. It's there's some movement in it. The guy who's corporate and you would not, it's just like, oh, he too friendly, or he too nice, or he dressed too square. I was just at that time moving fast and caught something fast. That's basically was my vibe. Like I was, and my get back game is fire. Like he went to Harvard. So it was a matter of, I felt hurt. He did something to me. I did it back and I did it better. And then it caught chaos and it was just, a toxic thing. But I think that your two broken people are bound to cut each other. It's what it is. And at the time, I didn't give my all.
It's a trauma bond.
It was. I didn't give my all. I felt hurt, and I'm going to make you hurt. You're going to bleed. I'm going to watch you bleed. Right. That's who I was at that time. So I feel like if I had to give, back to the question, a woman some advice is find your identity and your purpose before trying to engage in relationship with others. As well as relationships with friends. It's not just in a marriage or a courting or dating, but also in relationships, period. Because when we show up as our whole self, it's hard to be broken. It's hard to get broken. It's hard to get broken into when we show up whole and healthy.
No, I like how you said that. You know what? Here's what I think. I think that God did it for a reason. I feel like because of everything that you just explained, that's the reason that you had to find yourself. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? You had to go through that to figure out who you are and what you needed to do. So it's just what it. So a lot of times we give advice to people, they're still going to have to go through it. They're still going to have to learn it. And my advice to the women is, because me being coming from the dope game too, I understand what it's like. Don't go after the D-boy who has no vision. If you're going to go out, don't go for the D-boy whose vision is, I'm going to have 20 million kilos. Not that vision. Not that vision.
Right?
Not the vision. Go for the D-boy who he's doing it. That's what you want. Go for the one who wants something more than that. And you see that in him. Because if you don't see that, and then you're going to be just going down a long road of the same thing over and over. You know what I'm saying? Getting locked up, getting robbed, robbing, having to pull guns. It's all the same thing. Police. So it's like, go for the one that's actually got a vision, who wants to. Because my honest opinion is some of the best business people are people who come from the dope game.
That I would agree with. I've had a lot of clients that,
So what I'm saying is, if you get one of them who are willing to take the game and apply it to something else, but if you get with somebody that's all you see is they're never going to change, then all you're going to do is you go down.
But the game has changed. Yeah. So I would say a guy who was in the game years ago, 15, 20 years ago versus who's in the game now it's not the same. I think that what I would say is get someone based on what you need.
Yeah.
Because finding a partner based on what you need, that's where the iron sharpens iron. So
Absolutely.
finding what you think you want versus what you may need could be a challenge.
Yeah, a lot of people don't really know what they need. They know what they want. They know what they want. But I feel like the only way you can really know what you truly need is through God. God's going to show you what you need. So maybe that's really the answer. Find God. You know what I'm saying? And let God,
And two, because I feel like God can prep us for and have certain things for us. Because what I could say is me going through a time of singleness, I think I'm a better woman now than I was back then. I was
and that's why people
savage.
say that, like, you gotta take that time to yourself, to find yourself and find what you really want. Because when you're in a relationship that you don't like, you don't really know what you want. You know what you don't want. You know what you don't want real well. Like, I don't want that. But the only way you're gonna know what you actually want is to separate yourself. Be like, all right, I'm single. I want that. I want that. You start to figure out. You gotta love yourself. You got to find that full love, because once you fully love yourself and you fully let go of everything, all the pain from the previous one, then you can move. A lot of people are just jumping from relationship to relationship. You don't even know what you want because you didn't even take the time to figure it out.
And I think too, I think dating now, for me, I can say, and currently courting, is that what I'm looking at is who can carry my anointing, who can cover what I'm called to do. I as much as of a good man somebody might be, and he might be a good provider and a good protector, if he don't work well with me going out and taking care of the homeless, because that's not really his portion, then that wouldn't really work for me.
Well, I'm going to give you my opinion on that. Don't be too hard on that aspect of it. That aspect of it right there is the thing that might trap you in a situation. Because like you said, you don't have expectations, but I feel like, I'll let him pass by. I feel like you don't want to have too high an expectation. I'll tell you why. You got to have a good expectation. Don't get me wrong, but don't be too. I'm going to tell you why. Because the perfect person, it never comes perfect.
Definitely.
The perfect person, well, maybe the perfect person doesn't exist, but the closest thing to perfect is going to come from the combination of you being with them, you being a Leo. You understand? Like, Leos want to exactly. You're gonna have to cultivate like a plant that perfect person. But like I said earlier, it's got to be someone who's willing. You can see them; they want to change. They're willing to get out of what they're doing, or they're willing to grow. And if you don't see that as an automatic no, as a man or a woman, anybody, if they're not willing to grow or change for the better, then there's no point. But I was just saying, because a lot of people get stuck on that exact thing. They want the perfect thing, and that's why they can't find it, because they keep pushing people away who could have been the perfect thing. They just weren't in the moment.
So I think for me, when you dating over 40, a little bit different.
Yeah,
because
it's like
certain things I ain't building no bear. I'm just, I have sons, so it's certain things I'm just not going to deal with, because I don't feel like it's fair to me, but it also isn't fair to that person who this is how they are, and they may not have any transition for that process. And so there are some things that I think require compromise. There's certain things that are just non-negotiables, and I feel like we should the issue is be honest about those things
up front.
Hey, this ain't gonna work for me. And okay, I can see that the transition and the challenge, and I would want that person to be honest with me about, because like what I get in dating is most men have an issue with who I work with.
Oh, girl, please.
They do.
Why is that?
Because they feel like, okay, well, you're around a bunch of rappers. Or, like, I've even had dudes ask me for concert tickets or an autograph, or that's work for me. Trae and I like family, but that's work for me. So our guys will be like, well, I don't really like my woman being with a lot of niggas. And so...
But they got a lot to learn about you.
Well, they got to know that Leos are the most loyal.
They got a lot to learn
Leos are very loyal.
Yeah, if you come into this situation and that's my people, you going to go before they go. Now, in a marriage, right? Because there's one thing to be courting and to be dating, but then when you're married, that's something different. You cleave to your spouse. But if we can't even get there because you see who I work with as a challenge or as something you're intimidated by, I can't help that. That's insecurity within you.
Yeah, so you definitely can't be with somebody insecure, but it's also a test. You know, like my girl, she's an artist and she does all kind of stuff. She's an influencer artist, and I just let her do it because I trust her. So obviously, it's got to be somebody that trusting is big.
For sure.
So if you're with somebody who's insecure, that's just a problem, period.
For sure.
But it's going to be a bigger problem for somebody who's in the industry that you're in, 100%. There's no way you could date someone insecure. So yeah, but
Most
you know, I
definitely.
just like I said, just don't be too hard on yourselves. I want to see you be happy. You know what I'm
You
saying?
wanna say
And I do want to say
Come
this.
on, give me let me
Yeah.
say how happy she is.
Well, I do want to tell you this.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
doing a lot for the community.
Most
doing a lot.
definitely.
Just
Thank you.
From what I know
Most
of you,
definitely.
you're a great person.
That's Trae the Truth, and just Trae the Truth, Trae the Truth, because he do not Trae, but
Don't do
not
that.
married, but far as the things that she do as
Behind
the
the
woman,
scenes, the person
woman,
making it
the
keep
woman,
going.
Most definitely.
And there's a lot of good things he
Most
does.
definitely.
So I
He
just
do a
want to
lot
say
of good things.
keep going.
And
Thank you.
she behind him every step of the way. And I love what she doing because every good man always a good woman. Not that they gotta be married, but it's a friendship. And when you trust and believe in any good friendship, you trust your friend to make the right decision for you at times when you fall short. Times Trae the Truth might not be all the way himself, but as long as you involve her, she gonna be all the way right to where she make the best decision. And for what you doing and how you doing it as a woman, I take my hat off to you, and I know y'all got so many things up and coming. I know y'all preparing yourself for hurricane season. I know what you doing, and look, I'm gonna be the first to say this, man. Me and D Phlo, the Drop the Jewels boy, would love to come. D Phlo, we would love to come out there and help and contribute because our biggest thing is not just talking to the world, but giving back to the world and being hands-on. It's some things we don't know. It's some things we know. But whatever it is you could use us for, we willing to show up and show out to give our behalf to what you doing.
Definitely, we respect it. 100%.
We respect it. Yeah, most definitely. When I told him we was having you, he was like, I said, man, listen, man. She got them big kahunas.
I'll be childish.
You know, and I remember when I told him that you gave me the circus tickets and I pulled up to your crib and how excited my kids was to go to the circus. That was my first time. I was excited to see the thing. You got a big heart. You do things from the passion of your heart. I want to ask you this before I let you go. Is it anything one thing that you would love to have that you would feel grateful of? Is it a car? Is it a house? I saw your house. I ain't gonna tell them how y'all live. But is it any certain car, any certain house, any certain opportunity? Is it any certain person you would love to work with to say, my job is all I did, completed for what I want to do? No.
I mean, obviously I have a dream car.
What's your car? What's your dream
I'm not
car?
telling nobody.
Come on now. Why you don't want to tell me?
Because I never tell people nothing that I haven't accomplished yet.
Man, I'm tired.
I'm gonna tell you why I don't agree with that. Manifestation.
Yeah, in my private time.
in your private time.
Yeah.
Okay, I respect that.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Okay, so yeah,
So just
maybe
tell me who
that's
made
that's
it.
her way.
Can I explain that?
Yeah.
Because what I do, the one thing that I don't like about the internet, YouTube, all those things, is monitoring spirits.
Oh, that's tough.
And let me say that from a perspective
Monitoring
of
spirits
I
is
come
big.
from a life of warfare, right? I'm a trained intercessor prayer wise. So I feel like sometimes when you release stuff into the atmosphere, if you read the Bible when he talks about the Prince of Persia, right? A lot of times there's a process that the enemy will attack what's meant to come your way.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not that you're not going to get it, but it brings additional warfare. So when as someone like me who's called to cover a bunch of people, I don't invite unnecessary warfare into my world because the warfare is already there. And there's a lot of battles that I fight privately that I don't even discuss because of when you call to the front there and the light brings heat. Y'all know that.
Yeah, most
so sometimes you'll be attacked to try to forfeit your opportunity because the devil can't take nothing from you. So I try to keep things that I hold dear to my heart private. So if you notice, I don't post my son a lot. For that reason,
You never post none of your kids.
I do post them. I just don't post them a lot. And truthfully, my middle daughter, likes to take pictures. but most of my children are very private, and I respect that about them.
I definitely respect what you were saying though.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times when you're being too vocal, especially in people who would like to like they don't want to see you rise. They would like to see you fall. You know, they're preying on your downfall, and then you're over there telling them, I want this. It positions people to be against you.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, I can see that. It could block your own blessings.
And I ain't scared. But it's like, why bring the
What's
warfare?
the point? What's the benefit?
Yeah. So it's not, and so I do have things that I desire. What I'm working on in this season is my question to God is, can you merge what I desire with your will for me? Because
Let's say that one more time. Now I don't think they heard
my prayer is that He helps me to merge my desire with His will, or vice versa, His will with my desire. Because what I've identified in me, I could talk only for me, that I have desired some things that He has released in His permissive will, because I prayed and I begged and I asked for, but it was beneath what He had for me. Or it was too premature. The egg hatched too quickly, and then I had to tussle with it or fight. I'm in my soft era. I don't want to do none of that. I want to receive what He had for me. I want to walk in it. All my life I've been in survival mode. I've tussled. I don't want to do that no more. I want what He had for me, because what I finally identified is that what He has for me is better than what I've ever wanted.
Hey, y'all heard what she said, man. What she wanted for herself is better. Is what not God wanted for her. God got something better for her. And a lot of us in time, we want certain things, but God have something better for us. In order for to find that, you gotta, oh my God. Listen, man, y'all heard it. Y'all heard it. We not talking about just a spiritual woman. We talking about a strong, independable, a mother of 5, a mother of different challenges, a mother that had to overcome situations, a mother that had to find peace within herself, a mother that got to deal with multiple different attitudes, different mindsets each and every day, but still got to remain and stay grounded to what she had to do being a mother at home.
For sure.
Dealing with her, bro. It was tough.
Oh, wow.
I think I told D Phlo, I said, I have to talk to Trae the Truth manager. I said, I'm ready. I said, I'm built. But then when I talked to her, she said, listen, fuck your followers. Fuck the motion. Fuck who you think you is. Tell me who you really are. I said, come on now. I said to myself, I said, listen, I got to break it down to you. I said, you was tough, man. You was tough.
Because you come in here talking about, I got this many followers.
I
don't care about none of that. What is that about?
And I want to tell you, man, I must give you your flowers. I appreciate what you did, because like I say all the time, what you did, you didn't have to do. God laid it on your heart to do it. And not just did it for me, but you did it for Him, because what you did for me opened the opportunity for both of us. And what God doing and what He continue to do, and what you showed us. That's one thing about me. I'm not afraid to hear what other people opinion and what they feel I should be doing, because you know what's best. At the end of the day, we ain't too far from each other age, but you know what's best for me. And you're not gonna tell me nothing. You're not gonna step me wrong. And God sent you to me, and He put you around me to tell you what you feel that I should do. Now,
I'm glad she did. I'm glad she did.
Look here, man.
So let me ask you this: so what do you got coming up next?
The retreat in May. Then I'm starting a nonprofit cohort, so I'm going to be training some nonprofit leaders to help them learn how to gain funding and grow.
Tell them how they can find you.
CoachKrystalShanell.com. Krystal with a K because he was putting a C.
Is that and what's your Instagram?
The Krystal Shanell. So THE Krystal KrystalShanell.
Okay. Well, we appreciate you coming today.
Thank you guys.
We had a great
for having
conversation.
Me.
Definitely.
You okay? You survived.
He's good. But all right, y'all. We'll see you on the next episode.
Krystal, you really had to say that?
You brought it